Morally clean, physically active, and mentally strong. Wouldn't it be great if every boy could grow up like that? Sometimes his surroundings help a fellow to think things out, help him to develop moral principles, clear-cut goals, and a proper sense of values. Amidst the ancient and patient saguaros, black against the sunset, a boy's mind develops an awareness of the beauty of nature. When a boy wakes up in the morning and can look out at tall, rugged mountains, it gives him a feeling of strength. Working hard and playing hard somehow seem easier when you're living in a lush, green desert plateau near those mountains. It's hard to find a place where a boy can grow in this kind of atmosphere. Just such a location is about 20 minutes from a major metropolitan area in the West, Tucson, Arizona. It's known as Southern Arizona School. I'm Leif Erikson, and I have always been interested in just what it is that makes boys develop into outstanding young men. Now, I think that this school has found the key, because here a boy can get his pre-college schooling in a comfortable southwestern atmosphere. Southern Arizona School has been in operation since 1930. One of its founders was Captain Russell B. Fairgrieve. Captain Fairgrieve, now retired, lives near the campus. He has seen the school grow from 6 students and 5 buildings to over 80 students and more than 20 buildings. From the time a boy arrives, he begins to feel a part of Southern Arizona School. Passing through the desert growth, it's just a short drive to the main buildings on the campus. Hopi House is the academic, administrative, and dining center of the school. In addition, it houses the library and the reception lounge. On hand to greet new arrivals is the headmaster, Captain Slade Cutter. A prep school graduate himself, Captain Cutter came to Southern Arizona School in 1966, bringing a backlog of experience with him. Some of you may know Slade Cutter. While at the Naval Academy in 1934, he kicked the field goal that brought Navy its first victory over Army in 13 years. During World War II, he commanded the submarine USS Seahorse. By the end of the war, he had earned 4 Navy Crosses, 2 Silver Stars, a Bronze Star, and the Presidential Unit Citation. In later years, he was Director of Athletics at the United States Naval Academy and commander of the Great Lakes Naval Training Center in Illinois. A short time ago, Slade Cutter was inducted into the Football Hall of Fame. He is quite a man. Once a fellow has met Captain Cutter and signed in, he moves into his room and the school year begins. The boy's room is more than just a place to sleep. It's a part of his home. It's where he's going to live and study while he's here. It becomes his room. He and his roommate add their own things to fill their own personal needs and interests. Some of the boys live in suite arrangements for 2 or 3, with a living study room and a back sleeping room. Others live in a new lodge where 2 of them share a room. The schedule finds a boy straightening up before breakfast. Every day is an active day at the school, so the guys need a lot to eat. Cooking is done in the kitchen attached to the central unit of Hopi House. The cooks have been there a long time, and they know how to make a hungry fella feel happy. Now, classes start at 8 in the morning. And here's where a boy begins to fulfill his goals. The classes are small, averaging about 10 students per class. There's enough time to give a lot of individual attention and allow everyone in the class to develop and to express his own ideas. The students take 5 majors. This leaves plenty of room for several electives to meet individual preferences and talents. Social sciences like history, economics, and civics are some of the classes taught, along with philosophy and anthropology. Complete and up-to-date labs are available for all the sciences. Now, because the weather is comfortable the year round, classes don't need to be restricted to the inside. If something can be taught better out of doors, the class meets out of doors. Some of the boys take the FAA-approved ground school course and practice their lessons with instructors on the newly finished landing strip on the campus. Learning isn't new to this location. Students can study and relax where boys learned and played 1,000 years ago. On the grounds of the campus are the ruins of an ancient Indian village. The site is rich in pre-Columbian relics and artifacts. Because the number of boys is under 100, the faculty and administration can see each student as a whole person. Each boy's problems, goals, and abilities are explored and understood. He is individually stimulated and encouraged. His course of study is planned specifically for him and with him.
Before getting into the agenda,
the faculty meets regularly, seeking solutions to the problems which the individual boys encounter.
Teachers tend to become impatient with boys who are apathetic or who fail to respond to efforts to motivate them. And they're inclined to see students as they are at present rather than to see them as they can become in the future. It is our responsibility and our challenge to see to it that the boys reach their potential. Now, that must always be our goal. And the most fruitful field in which to achieve this goal is in what I call the average boy. Now, our gifted students are going to get along pretty well in spite of us. But the growth potential of the average boy is tremendous, and we must never become impatient with him or let him think that we are. He is the one who needs our patience and our leadership the most. The average boy is generally having trouble with his studies. His reading comprehension is low. His reading rate is not high. He also is having trouble with his English. His mathematics is not what it should be. And he's having trouble learning how to study. And in most cases, it isn't his fault. He's the victim of overcrowded public school systems in which boys are pushed along in order to make room. Now, this is the type of boy who most needs a structured kind of environment that we provide. And it gives him a sense of security. Now, the important thing is to keep looking for opportunities to encourage these boys. As we discuss each student tonight, I suggest that we concentrate on those who still need special help. Everyone's ideas are welcomed, because any one of the ideas that one of you people may present could be the key to the boy's difficulty.
99% of the Southern Arizona School graduates have gone on to colleges such as the Ivy League schools, Stanford, MIT, Whittier, Claremont, and many state universities and junior colleges. Many of them stay here in Tucson and study at the University of Arizona because they have learned to love the Southwest. Southern Arizona School makes each boy ready for the college best suited to him. To help its students build a foundation in the knowledge they need to succeed on the tough college level, SAS has a complete library. Books are available for individual needs and interests, from Julius Caesar to popular mechanics. The main time for study is in the evening, but during the day, extra study periods also help a boy develop study habits, which he'll carry on into college. Books alone don't develop the competence and skills needed for leadership. The Hopi Council meets weekly with the faculty advisor and is given some of the responsibility in administering the school. It provides practical experience in democratic government. Classes end at 3:30, and then the activities period starts with calisthenics. Physical development rates high in the total concept of education on which the Southern Arizona School works. Activities include sports in season, such as football. The boys play six-man flag football. Blocking is the same as in tackle football, but the players don't wear the same protective equipment to absorb the hard contact. It's a game for tough, spirited young men, and SAS has some of the toughest, most spirited in the league, which they've dominated for many years. Soccer is another rough sport which some of the boys like. Few schools this size have as successful teams as SAS, especially when they don't recruit athletes. Even sports that are usually played indoors can be practiced outside the year round here in Arizona. The students aren't alone on the field either. The masters are out there with them taking part. Sometimes they're supervising or coaching, and sometimes they're in the thick of things, scrapping for the ball. It's part of Southern Arizona School's plan for creating a closer relationship between students and faculty. Since the school has stables where boys can keep their own horses, a lot of them do quite a bit of riding. When it comes time for polo, the teams are in the thick of competition. Some of them ride with English saddles, and others stick to the Western cowboy polo. For the boys who like individual competition, there are activities like tennis. Those who enjoy the game of golf can be in the sun every day. The swimmer finds himself in a heated, regulation-sized pool. Some spend a lot of time with things like trap shooting. The boys are encouraged to be as active in as many different sports as they can. And practically everyone plays every sport at one time or another. The afternoon can also be a time when some of the responsibilities of special projects can be taken care of. These projects help fellows to think for themselves, help them develop responsibility to themselves, to their families, and to society. Each boy is assigned certain special tasks in keeping with his age and ability. He might be working on the prospects. Putting together their own yearbook not only gives students experience in working together, it also gives them a real glow of pride. Another boy might be taking his turn at waiting on tables in the dining room. Everything at Southern Arizona School is part of the learning process. After the activity period, everyone dresses for the evening meal. Dinner is served family style, and again, the school develops a closer relationship between its students and staff by having a master at each table. The faculty at Southern Arizona School live in apartments on the campus. By living among the boys, masters are always around when they're needed to offer special help, whether with lessons or personal problems. A better understanding of one another is developed when a student can meet his teacher in his own home.
During the personal
Often,
interview
Captain
of
Cutter will use an
applicants at
informal
SAS, I always
situation
ask
to
the
help
question,
himself better
why do
understand
you
the
come
boys.
to Southern Arizona School? And I would be interested in finding out what your reasons are. And I remember you had a good reason, John, for coming to SAS. What was it?
Primarily because of my health. Before, I'd been sick and missed a lot of classes, and because of that, I'd gotten behind and wasn't doing too well. But since I've been out here, I haven't missed any classes, and everything's turned out very well.
Larry, what was your reason for coming to SAS?
Well, I lost a year in Germany, and I found that I could get through Southern Arizona School in 3 years instead of 4 if I took extra courses and a summer school course.
And Buzz, why did you come to SAS?
Well, I had two brothers that came to SAS before me, and one is a graduate of MIT, and the other is a pre-med at Boston University. And they both thought that it would be a good idea for me to come. And I also knew that I would be able to play sports all year round.
There are lots of reasons for coming to Southern Arizona School, and every boy has his own. At SAS, no boy becomes a number. Each student is involved in such a way that he is part of the school community. The adults work with the boys and for them, and they all cooperate as members of the academic and social community. School spirit shows how successful this is. Each individual on the team is supported by the entire student body. Bull sessions and pep rallies don't take up all of a fellow's free evenings. There's time for social contact, too. 2 private girls' schools are nearby, and for a long time, they've been favorite places to visit. There are cookouts, informal mixers, and several semi-formal and formal dances. Here's where a boy can practice up on which is his left foot. Not all the social life is in the evening. The weekend might find the boys at a swimming party with one of the neighboring schools. Or they might be invited to an afternoon reception where the fellows will have a chance to meet some of the girls. In order to broaden his experience, a student needs to get out, travel around. Sometimes special events come along. In October of 1968, many of the boys went to the Olympics in Mexico City. Other times, weekends are set aside for different trips. There's nothing quite as awesome as standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon. It's 1 mile to the river below. It makes you think a bit when you realize how many million years it took for that river to wear down 1 mile of solid rock. A trip to northern Arizona might include a visit to another prehistoric site, the Montezuma Castle National Monument, and a return through Oak Creek Canyon. The boys have another kind of experience when they make a fishing trip to Guaymas, Sonora. It's located in Mexico on the Gulf of California. besides getting in some fishing, they get a chance to see how our neighbors south of the border live. If fishing isn't what turns a guy on, maybe skiing is. The Catalina Mountains that rise above the school are often covered with snow in the winter, and ski trips are made up to the lifts. These trips are all part of Southern Arizona School's concept of total education. Some of them supplement the regular classroom study, and others are an integrated part of it. The Sanavir mission is a classic example of the missions the Spanish Padres built in the 17th century. It's a living lesson in history. Walking the streets of old Tucson, a model western town complete with board sidewalks, is a visit to the 19th century. A modern lesson in astronomy is learned when the students visit the National Observatory on Kitt Peak. Here they get a chance to see some of the telescopes and instruments that are helping put astronauts into space. The Arizona Sonora Desert Museum is a living museum where live animals are on display. The animals live in natural exhibits rather than behind bars. When fine arts studies are called for, the University of Arizona is just 20 minutes away. Among the permanent exhibits the students can see in the art gallery is the nationally known Kress Collection. The university also provides a continuing series of dramatic productions and musical concerts, as well as intercollegiate athletic events. Weekly trips into Tucson give the boys a chance to shop or take in a movie. Trips don't always mean getting into a bus or driving somewhere. Some start out right at the school, such as the pack trip up into the mountains. If a trip to the Grand Canyon is awesome, exploring the mountains around the school is inspiring. Besides seeing the magnificent view of the mountains and the valley below, a fellow learns to take care of himself. Roughing it on a pack trip, he has to make his own bedroll and do his own cooking. He develops self-confidence by dealing with nature with his own two hands. A shorter ride in Sabina Canyon is all right too. The quiet beauty of the canyon is a relaxing contrast to the buzzing activity of the school. Southern Arizona School is right next to the canyon, and this stream is the same one that runs through the campus. It makes it real easy for everybody to take a holiday from the dining room and go on a picnic in the canyon. The beauty of the canyon also provides the setting for Thanksgiving inspirational services. Prayer, high up in the mountains, under the open sky, makes everyone feel much closer to God. Religious services are a regular part of Southern Arizona School. Each Sunday, the boys are taken into the church of their choice in Tucson. Other students meet Sunday morning on the campus for a non-denominational service. Character and honor are recognized at the school as valuable qualities. Their importance is emphasized each year by the honor spur, which is symbolically passed from the seniors to the juniors. No honor conferred by the school exceeds that of membership in the National Honor Society. It represents the basic objectives for which college prep schools are founded, and it recognizes the students who come closest to achieving the desired qualities. The National Honor Society and the school look upon education as a total product measured by 4 dimensions of life: character, scholarship, leadership, and service. When graduation comes for the student, he has earned the privilege of putting his brand on the beams in the school. Throughout the years he has been at SAS, he has worked with the school to awaken his own potential. He has been at a school small enough to allow time to build deep and lasting friendships with both his fellow students and with the adults with whom he has worked and played. But it's been a school large enough to have the best in faculty. By working closely with his teachers and living in an environment where he is taught to think for himself, where his responsibility to others and respect for their way of life is encouraged, he has developed a strong moral foundation. By keeping active and taking part in the school sports, he has not only learned good sportsmanship and the rewards that come with it, but he has also strengthened his moral character by strengthening his physical character. By studying hard, he has developed his own potential and set himself on the road to even greater victories. In short, if a boy has been able to come to Southern Arizona School, he has become a part of their total concept of education. And this is the key to developing outstanding young men. A concept which concentrates on developing a man's values, his morals, his physical and mental character. Now, the importance of all this learning comes when it is put to good use. From here, these men will go their different ways. First of all, of course, to college. Then they'll take their places alongside the many other graduates of Southern Arizona School. Now, the value in developing young men such as these is summed up in the purpose of the school given by George Harper, one of its founders: to build a better world by placing better men in that world.